Hello and welcome back to the Movie Pope podcast. And today we have another great guest here on the show. We have Julie Church of the Golden Hour Film Festival out of Morganton, North Carolina. And we're going to chat a little bit about what is Golden Hour, how did she go about getting it started, and she's going to take us to school and teach us a little bit about how digital effects and special effects work. But before we dive in, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and please, for the love of God, share this video with everybody that, because we are looking to grow our channel and we can appreciate any little bit of help. Please. I'll get the Movie Pope to give you a movie blessing if we get enough subs. But Julie, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon?
I'm good. Thank you.
I was gonna say, because we had to do a very delicate dance because we were supposed to record a few weeks ago, but you had a camp coming up, so we kind of had to figure out like when was a good date and time. And I really wanted to have you on the show, so I kept thinking, oh God, I don't want to push her away. So now here we are. Now, I gotta say, Golden Hour is one of those film festivals that I've never heard of, but the more I read about it, I was like, it kind of makes sense that you guys exist, because you kind of it's sort of like you guys are covering the gap between the cities, because everybody thinks only in the big cities can we have like the big film festivals, and all you little towns, well, tough luck. I mean, better luck in the next life.
Yeah, we're here. It's just harder to, get the name out.
Yeah, exactly. So, why don't you go ahead and get us started and tell us a little bit about what Golden Hour is and how'd you guys get started?
It kind of started several years ago as just a wee little thought, in a couple of our heads. We used to get together with a small film group, just trying to connect each other, with the community. Like I said, it's a small community, so it's hard to, you might have a filmmaker that's 5 minutes down the road and you'd never even know it, because, networking, it is harder in smaller cities. We just kind of, got together and, we kind of got bigger and stuff, and we made short films and stuff, and we started kind of dabbling into the festival circuit and everything. And anybody and everybody that has been through that knows that it can be a very brutal place for newer filmmakers and everything. And it's like you spend all this time and money or hope crossing your fingers, but then you just kind of, sometimes you never get anywhere, but you are competing with, all these great professional, filmmakers and everything. And, so we started doing some of the film festivals that did reviews and stuff. And we got a lot of great, feedback on, from judges on, what we could do to improve the film in the festival circuit and stuff. Some were very nice, some were very not nice. So it started getting very, kind of heartbreaking and kind of disappointing. And it kind of like, oh gosh, should we continue to do this, or, shouldn't we? But I work with a lot of students. I am a adjunct, professor at Western Piedmont Community College. And then I also, teach a teen film camp. So, where do we send, these people that, are just not going to get, tore down or anything? So we all started thinking, okay, can we create something that will help be a positive environment, to, newer filmmakers, novice, that are just coming in, or people who don't do it on a professional level. So we started kind of tinkering around and, thinking about it. And that's kind of where the Golden Hour, come from, but our biggest thing was having, being able to compete in your own, skill set, so we have apprentice, journeyman, and master craftsman tiers. So whenever you submit your film, you go based off of the criteria of your experience. And when it comes to the judging and stuff, you're judged within that category. Like if you submitted into apprentice, then you are going to get judged on with other apprentices and stuff. And then if you're a professional filmmaker, then you would go into master craftsman and compete with them. So it's kind of given the little, the lower novice filmmakers a, chance to, be able to compete in a festival and be able to come, and also collaborate with, more of your professional or, veteran filmmakers.
So you guys are kind of like the shallow end of the pool, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how you mean that, but I think I know, but yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I should clarify. I mean, it's sort of like the introductory film festival for like young people are who are kind of getting their feet wet and kind of just figuring out
Yeah.
the craft and just learning their skills
Yeah.
because when you think of like the bigger film festivals or even film festivals in larger markets, they you kind of you can sort of feel intimidated sometimes, um, because with the film festival organizers that I've interviewed, I've always come away with the impression, and I know these organizers don't intentionally convey that, but you kind of get this feeling that you kind of have to either be near the top or at the top of your game. Maybe you've done it for like several years and
Yeah.
had a few films under your belt before you can you know put your film out there. Whereas here it's like it's a safe space. You kind of know everybody's on the same level, so you're not going to be as intimidated as say going
Yes.
to like Tribeca, for
Yeah.
instance, or I'm drawing a blank. What's that famous film festival?
Sundance.
Sundance. Yes, I knew the one in New York, but not Sundance.
Yeah.
So I do want to circle back around. So when you guys started, how big was the filmmaking community in your area? Was it? I mean, were there like just like maybe a few, or were there like a substantial amount of people who were filmmakers or who had worked in the industry that you could reach out to?
Um, there's more than what you realize, but there's um I mean, in this area there are some, professional, filmmakers and stuff, but they kind of more do it for a living and not making short films, type of thing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But most of us are, probably what you call weekend, filmmakers and stuff like that. So
Gotcha. So so you started organizing the film festival. What was it like your first year? What were the challenges that you encountered?
um COVID.
Well, besides COVID.
That was like, uh-oh. um but actually, we were actually very successful, the first year. I don't know if that had to do with COVID, or what, I don't know. But we had, um, like I said, we do have, the apprentice journeyman and master craftsman. So I think, we didn't have as many apprentice, as what I would have liked to see, because basically that's where we're gearing, this festival more toward. But we did get a lot of journeyman and master craftsmen.
Mhm.
So learning from that, I'm new. I don't know how to, I'm not good at marketing. I work 3 jobs. My time is very slim.
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
so the following year, what I did is I reached out to just about every, community college, 4-year college, between, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee. So just kind of all these surrounding areas, and, kind of connected with, instructors from, film programs and stuff like that, and kind of started networking a little bit more. So the next 2 years, we really had a good turnout of apprentice films.
So, so I gather you had never done this before. You had never put together a film festival, right? Were you so for the first few years, were you doing this all by yourself, or did you have like a support network
No,
to help you out?
no, I've always had a very, very good, support, group with, just our fellow friends, filmmakers, everything. So, it was just, a lot of meetings and talking and saying, okay, what would you like to see? What would you not like to see? Kind of how, and then what is possible as well, because it is very expensive, to, hold this stuff, and I think our biggest struggle was finding community, um, support, for like locations and not charging us an arm and a leg, or not putting us in the middle of the week, oh yeah, you can hold it here at 4 o'clock Wednesday. I'm like, well, who's gonna come out 4 o'clock Wednesday, to a film festival? So, that's probably been, our, hardest part, but we're kind of starting to kind of settle it out this year. We have, kind of hit the pause button a little bit, just because my work schedule, has gotten pretty hectic, and, just being, I want to make sure that I can put the proper time, and effort into, presenting the festival that I can. So, and then we're just kind of reorganizing a little bit, to try to figure out how we can best maximize, the money with the event.
So, so have you seen an increase in support as as the film festival kind of grows? Like, do you feel like you're getting more support now than you did from way back when you started,
Um,
or is it kind of the same?
it's kind of the same. Yeah, it's kind of the same. But that is, the thing with small towns is, some would say that it's easier and some would say it's harder. I think it's kind of all depending on, who and having the right connections.
Have you have you reached out to other film festival organizers to kind of pick their brains and kind of see what they're doing that you think, that might be a good idea? I might try
Yeah.
to steal
Yeah,
that.
we've definitely talked to, a few film festivals from smaller cities and bigger cities, and, kind of, pick brains and compared notes and everything. And I think we all, are the smaller ones all kind of struggle with the same things.
Hmm.
You know, finding that, community support. And when I say community support, yeah, the filmmakers and everything support, but it's more of the businesses,
Yeah.
trying to get them on board, and, helping advertise, helping get it out there, getting your community more, involved, type of thing.
Yeah, and yeah, and that's the thing, because because obviously, you know, film festivals need venues to be able to showcase these films,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So 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 if you can, reach out to, like, town hall and say, hey, do you think maybe we can do like a venue in the park, for instance, kind of like a drive-in movie
Mhm.
kind of deal? Or, hey, do you think we can use this, use the auditorium in this community college for a night, kind of, kind of get people on board, kind of get
Yeah.
people excited and wanting to believe in this project. It can be an uphill struggle.
Yes.
um and I really do feel for, for you guys, because it's such a great idea, really, because I'm one of those people who believes there can never be enough film festivals, because everybody's got a story to tell,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So that actually leads me to another question, and this is the question that I've asked. If you've been watching the podcast for a while, you'll probably know where I'm going here. But what is the film festival doing anything to kind of encourage and promote local talent? Because I know you said you teach filmmaking, or,
Yes.
or you teach like digital arts to students. I mean, what is the support network like for trying to cultivate young talent in the area?
So I definitely, encourage, everybody to submit. And if you are a student, or, and that's one thing that I've offered, for most of the apprentice filmmakers, is free entry, into the film festival, because, hey, they're college students,
Hmm.
some are high school students, they don't have the money, to do it. So, I do offer, free submissions, highly encourage, even if it is just putting together a trailer or something, give me something to help, promote you, because you never know who comes to the film festival is going to see that and be like, oh, that was interesting. I'd love to talk to them.
So can you quickly go over like what are the rules for the film festival? Like, do you guys have like a submission process, or like someone or committee that kind of screens these movies and decides which ones get to
Yeah.
showcase, or is it a democracy? Like anybody can join in.
So anybody, well, our process is you can submit. You can either submit just for film only, or you could submit for submission and review.
Hmm.
And we do have a panel of judges, that will watch all films. Um, and then if you ask for a review, they'll kind of scorecard and kind of write down notes on what why they're rating the film the way that they're rating it, and try to give positive constructive feedback. And then based off of, and then each judge will score the movie on their own, and then it goes off of a scale on best film, best actor, whoever got the higher scores.
Hmm. So I'm assuming whoever gets like a certain number of scores, they're the ones who get lucky. And what about the ones who don't meet the mark?
We try to showcase as many as we can, but there's people don't want to sit there for 8 hours watching
Right.
short films, whatever. But I think that is what kind of sets us apart from other film festivals, is because we do have you know sorry we do have the three levels, apprentice, journeyman, and master craftsman, and we do screen, equally, those films, so when you come to the festival, you're going to see professional, films. You're going to see, and they're all short films too, by the way. You're going to see professional films, but you're also going to see, student, films, or, weekend filmmakers, as we call them. And then you get to see some of the filmmakers who haven't been in been in it for as long. So basically the apprentice is 2 years or less. Journeyman, we call them the weekend filmmakers that have 2+ years experience but don't do it professionally. And then you have the uh master craftsmen, who have, I don't remember, don't quote me on this, but what, 2+ years, but do it professionally, uh,
Yeah,
which means either you have a, photography job, cinematography, editing job, or whatever that, you do on a, professional level.
gotcha.
So I do like that everybody gets equal, chance. So instead
Yeah,
of just, like, oh, this score film, or, this film scored, 7, in Apprentice, but then you got you got all your master craftsmen that's, scored above that. This one may not be screened, but with ours, it is going to get screened because it is in its own class.
gotcha. And I kind of like that approach too, because that way, they're not feeling self-conscious when competing, like, against, a professional filmmaker,
Yeah.
right? They know it's kind of like with boxing really with the different
Yeah.
categories, if you think
Yep.
about it.
Featherweight, lightweight, heavyweight.
Exactly. I was gonna say that would be pretty funny if you actually changed your categories to that. You scored 7 on the featherweight category.
Yeah. So, and we've actually, some filmmakers we've actually encouraged, hey, you submitted as apprentice, but you would have actually done really well in journeyman,
Hmm.
and I've actually talked to some filmmakers who, I feel like scored high enough to say, like, okay, well, I'm moving you from apprentice to journeyman, because, of it, and that, it makes people feel good, like, oh, okay, so, but we do try to keep it fair, across the board.
funny enough, I was actually going to ask you that question. So so thanks for being ahead of the curve on that one.
Yeah.
Um, so I do want to shift gears a little bit because besides organizing the film festival, you also teach.
Yeah.
And what I really like about that is is that you're teaching you're teaching a subject that used to be reserved for like the specialty schools like SCAD, for instance, or
Mhm.
NCS USA, or even Wilmington, or one of the UC schools out in California. Um, so can you talk about what you teach and what your approach is to kind of introduce these skill sets to these young people who are wanting to learn?
Okay. So, the program that I teach in is, well, we're actually getting a new program, and it's called, Broadcasting Technology and Video Production. And that's getting ready to start. So we'll be adding some more classes, but currently it's digital effects and animation. And, but we have filmmaking classes in there. So we teach camera and lighting, film production, video editing, and everything else like that with Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, just about any Adobe, and then we work with various, types of camera and lighting. So, teaching, new, filmmakers, or, some are into the filmmaking. So you could really kind of tell the ones, and I've actually got ones that weren't interested in it, that after they took the class, like, oh my gosh, I love this. Um, so we introduce them, we, encourage to, mingle with the camera, do it, get out there, make a short film, even if it is just a skit with yourself. We do a lot of film competitions, with our students as well, to kind of, get them in that mindset of, teamwork, and, working together as a crew to create a film, and, going through the competition, and the film festivals and stuff. So we do actually a variety of things. And then during the summer, we actually do a teen film camp for um, we get them as young as 12, and then we go up to 18, but mostly it's 12, 13, 14. We get some 16-year-olds in there too. So then that's always fun. And we actually did a film competition with them this summer too, and they got to create 4 short films this summer.
So like middle school to high schoolers, then
Yeah, yeah,
kind of introduce them to the film bug, as it
yeah.
were. Right, right. Um, so 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 what courses do you teach
Yep.
over at the college?
So I teach a variety of them. I have taught camera and lighting, and that's basically where we teach, both, getting into photography and video, teaching them, all the ins and outs of that, shutter speed, aperture, composition, all that. And then lighting, how to properly set up, your thing. Do not take what I have set up as professional lighting. It is not.
Well,
I'm not in the
trust
studio.
me, I know. I know that that was one of the first mistakes I ever made when I did my first lighting assignment.
I'm not in the studio, so I don't have my professional lighting lights.
They
But
didn't even have any C stands.
and then I teach video production classes, and that's basically where they're learning hands-on editing, doing different types of video work, as far as short films, interviews, conducting interviews, filming interviews. Um, uh, let's see, we've done all kinds of things that, we kind of keep it, on a rolling scale, what works, what doesn't work. We're actually getting ready to start introducing podcasts. So that's going to be, a fun, interesting thing. I teach implementation classes 1 and 2, and that's where the students will work on a single project for the whole 16, weeks. Being it a 2D animation, 3D animation, short film, whatever. And then we kind of go from pre-production, kind of learning how to, plan everything out, propose it, write it up, and kind of sell your idea, kind of working, trying to get more hands-on experience, in how to talk to clients and stuff. And then I teach intro to digital effects and animation and broadcasting technology. And that's where I said, we, learn the basics of Photoshop, After Effects, and Illustrator. And then I also teach media writing, which teaches different types of writing, script writing, um, media writing, like for social media or TV campaigns and stuff like that.
Now you did mention something that was really, really interesting. I do want to circle back to that because when I was in film school, we were very much focused on learning the craft. So everything that you described just took me back to 2008 and all the way up to 2011. But in all that time, we really never got into the business aspect of filmmaking. And over the course of doing this podcast, I've learned that you know that filmmakers, besides being artists, they've got to be marketers and self
Yeah.
promoters.
Yeah.
So so do you think and this might sound like a dumb question, but I still want to ask, how crucial is it that you kind of instill these business skills into your students, because it's not going to be easy for them to just walk up to an investor and just say, hey, can I have like $50,000? I really want to make this movie.
Yes. And I think that's, to me, I think it's extremely important because when I went, it wasn't something that I was taught either,
Hmm.
and, getting out there, it's like, oh gosh,
Why didn't they teach me this?
what am I doing? How do I, it's not as easy peasy, hey, instructor, I did this. Oh, good job. Yay. End of the story. But, I started really looking into that, and I'm like, what can we do, to get them ready, because a lot of people in this, I'm an introvert, I'm like, I don't like, being out there in public and talking to people and stuff, so
Hmm.
I've had to really work on myself and get me there. And a lot of people in, this field, a lot of artists are introverts and they do have a hard time speaking and, kind of, gathering that courage up and just doing it. So I do really think it is important to teach that and, kind of get them, in the mindset of presenting to clients, because a lot of times, you are going to be, an independent contractor and self-employed. You're going out there, you're trying to bid on these jobs, or, trying to sell yourself to, other people like, hey, I've got this idea, but I need, backing to do it. So, I think it's important to teach them how to do that. And the
So
pitfalls to it too as well.
so what sort of skills have you been trying to instill in these students? Because for me, the biggest thing, I really didn't hone my business skills until I actually started working in insurance. And the biggest thing that you kind of have to learn is you can't be shy around people when you're trying to sell a product. You
Yes.
kind of you almost have to be aggressive, to the
Confident.
point. Yeah, to the point where people can't say no to you.
Yes.
So have you so what kind of lessons or what kind of skills have you been trying to teach students to kind of let them know, hey, this is what you're going to need to do in order to get a potential investor's attention. This is what you're going to need to say to someone when you're in a meeting, or this is how you word a proposal letter, so so when they read it, they'll actually consider it instead of tossing it or giving it to their secretary to read.
Yeah. So we actually do a whole proposal packet
Okay.
in my implementation, and it takes them from statement to everything. And the way I have it set it up is I have milestones that they have to reach, and basically what they have to do with these milestones is they have to come to the client and they have to present, which I'm the client. I
Hmm.
tell them, for this course, I'm the client. This is what you're doing. You have to kind of sell me on the idea. So from the beginning of class, they have to come up with a concept idea, and then they have to bring it to me and basically sell it to me. do they have the confidence in doing it? What obstacles do they feel, that they, are going to be challenged with? How are they going to deal with these obstacles and everything? And so with the milestones, as they move forward, we have meetings to where they're going to meet with me, and the other, peers in the classroom, and they're going to, get up and they're going to present, their material in a business, way, and show everything, that they have done up until this point. Have they met their timeline, and any changes that need to be made? And then, their peers, have to act like their clients too. And they have to talk to them and ask them questions, instead of just saying like, oh yeah, that was a good job, but no, they are required to, give their feedback, ask questions, and, make any suggestions or anything that they need, based off of, that. And as we move forward, you can see that their confidence kind of gets a little better. They're a little bit more prepared, and by the end, they have to present their final, project, with any changes. And we can throw in a curveball, like a client may be like, oh, well, kind of want this in there now, too, and are they, going to be able to do it, so, because that does happen.
Yeah, and another thing too is the fact that when you're in charge of a project, you're not. I mean, you're not only an artist, but you're a manager as well.
Yes.
Um,
And we have timelines set up that, they have to meet these deadlines, within these certain, times. So they're supposed to, if they get behind, they're supposed to come, and let us know, are they behind? Why are they behind? And what are they doing to get back on track?
so another thing that kind of struck me was the fact that that you said, I think you said one of your classes, that you have them doing different projects like short films, and I think you said they're also doing like documentaries or news packages or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. And that again, that reminded me of my time of studying film at Greensboro, because because it's so easy to say, yeah, I'm just going to focus on short films, right? But that may not necessarily be the job that you start with
Yes.
when you graduate from college, because depending on where you lived and depending on the market, sometimes you may have to take whatever job is available
Yeah.
to
And
kind of
work
hone
your way
your skills. Yeah, exactly. What would you say is probably like the most difficult, I guess, genre of videography that you have to teach, or that students have to learn?
Oh, interviews.
Interviews. I'm sweating right now, just so you know, and it's not because of the heat.
Interviews is very hard, because, it is something that you do kind of have to have a knack for,
Hmm.
but it's also, being able to make your, interviewee comfortable, and making sure that they're answering more questions than just yes or no.
Yeah,
Like you could sit there and say, "Hey, what's this film festival about?" "Oh, it's a film festival."
that's like and
And so, just really getting in there and interacting and engaging, and, getting great, subject matter for, the overall interview.
yeah, and that's how you, and I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or tooting my own horn here, but the biggest issue that I've had to learn is just to listen to people,
Mhm.
right? Because because when I whenever because whenever I have to do an interview, I in my mind I'm thinking, all right, I've got to ask this question, and this question. I got to present it this way. But whenever you're filming a package, you know, when people are watching it, they're not watching it for a yes or no, right? They're not watching to see, huh? Are they going to say yes to that question? Oh, I bet they say no to that question. Like, you want to hear like the nuances,
Yeah.
and get to know the person that that you're watching, on screen. So I think the biggest challenge right there is to be able to listen carefully. You're kind of doing two things at the same time. Like, what you want to ask them, but at the same time you're listening because they might give you, audio cues from which you can kind of pounce on that and say, hey, I noticed you said this. Tell me a little bit more about that. Because that's probably what the audience is thinking too when they're watching as well.
Yeah.
So Julie, we're just close to wrapping up, but I could keep chatting for hours. But I know you're a very busy person. If people want to learn more about the festival, or if they're interested in the classes that you teach, where can they go?
Well, we are on Film Freeway, the Golden Hour Film Festival. I almost forgot the name of it. And we
It's
are
at the bottom of the screen too.
Yeah. We are on Facebook and Instagram. I'm hands down not very good at social media, keeping that updated, but I do try. But whenever we do have big news or anything, I do try to post more frequently. So yeah, forgive me on not having a great online presence. I promise I'll get better with that, in the future. But I do think that our 2025 season is going to be great. I wouldn't want to miss it. I think we're going to throw in a couple of different elements that I think people are going to really, enjoy.
Excellent. Well, Julie, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be on this podcast. I know you've got a very busy schedule, so I appreciate you taking the time to just squeeze this, itty bitty podcast into your schedule. And I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to, watch this interview. And if you're enjoying the content, remember to like, comment, subscribe. It helps with the algorithm, so I've heard. And it definitely means a lot to me and the Movie Pope. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.
All
Bye.
right.